Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. So I want to talk about something today that, in my opinion, could be one of the most serious things that we face in the immediate, things that are affecting us right now. And I think that this is very serious. The mainstream news has been deafening silence on this. They haven't talked much about it. I mean, a little bit, but it's certainly not front page news, and it really should be, because I think that this is affecting us and is going to affect us in really serious ways, starting now and throughout the rest of this year. And that is this diesel fuel shortage and the diesel exhaust fluid shortage. The prices obviously have skyrocketed on everything, any kind of, fuel products, and we're well aware of that and been talking about it. But we're dealing with some serious shortages, and we've talked about this for a couple of months now. Remember, a couple of months back, I was saying that, by this summer, it was going to get pretty bad. And here we are, it's hot, 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 and we're starting to see the effects of it, especially in certain states. My opinion, and this I want to reiterate, this is my opinion. While the mainstream news and the Biden administration is now starting to admit that the fuel issues, the fuel shortages, and the fuel prices are in part because of the plan to reduce our dependency on fuel and switch over to electric vehicles. They used to not do that. I mean, during the Obama administration, they would quietly admit that. And we've all said that many times, that's why they're wanting us to get off of electric or get off of gas vehicles and get onto electric. But I'll tell you this, I believe it's far, far, far more nefarious than that. And this issue with the diesel shortages and the diesel exhaust fluid, to me, is one of those things that kind of proves that their plan is way more nefarious than just to get us on electric vehicles. Their plan is to crash the system. And we're going to get into this and how bad things are right now. And truckers are starting to talk about it. Fueling companies are starting to talk about it, and they're issuing the warning. And no one, other than apparently people in the trucking industry, are seeming to listen to it. If they just wanted to get us off of fossil fuels and driving electric vehicles, while I disagree with that, why would there be such a major diesel fuel shortage? Because, well, there's no electric alternatives to diesel trucks, the semis. There's no electric alternatives to the other big equipment, tractors and farming equipment and other things that produce the food and that move the food around and move all the supplies around and everything. That every one of us use on a daily basis. It's all at some point in its whole logistic train has been in a vehicle that uses diesel fuel. They wouldn't be shutting that off because there's no alternative. They can't force the trucking industry to switch over to electric vehicles. Those don't exist, especially not in the capacity and the amount that's needed to transfer from diesel fuel over to electric vehicles. It's just the technology isn't there. But yet this is going forward, and we're seeing more and more shortages, especially on the eastern seaboard. And in my opinion, this isn't just to switch us over to electric vehicles to save the environment. This is to crash the system. This is more of what I've been talking about for days. That's an orchestrated effort to just bring us down to our knees. People won't accept, the American people wouldn't accept some new deal, some great reset, some globalist alternative, as long as we're able to kind of survive pretty well with what we have. But when we're brought to our knees and our dollar is crashed and our supply chain is decimated and there's no food and no fuel and no supplies moving around and our electricity's been shut off, then people will be desperate and they'll take whatever is given to them. So this diesel fuel shortage, like we've been talking about, it's getting serious. Here's an article here. It's talking about how it's quietly sneaking up on us. Why is it quietly sneaking up on us? Well, it's quietly because no one's talking about it. No one other than folks like myself. The news media sure isn't talking about it. The Biden administration isn't giving any warnings about it. They're not letting people know that there's an actual real shortage of diesel fuel and diesel exhaust fluid. And for those of you that don't know what diesel exhaust fluid, newer diesel trucks are required to run diesel exhaust fluid, and that has been in short supply and has been going up too. I was reading, and some of you that are truckers, you could correct me if I'm wrong. I'm okay with that. This is just what I've read. That it used to run the average trucker about $500 a week just in diesel exhaust fluid, and that cost has gone up to about $1,200 a week. That's if he can find it, and then just the diesel itself has gone up. It's thousands of dollars a week. That a lot of these truckers are paying to keep their trucks on the road. And the problem is now is a lot of them just can't keep their trucks on the road. And I've got some video footage of that to show you. I've got an article here. This isn't an article, sorry. This is a letter put out by Love Fleet Sales, and this is the Love truck stops. Many of you, whether you're a trucker or not, you've probably stopped and refueled and eaten at them. They're all over. They're one of the biggest. And this is the very top of this. It says, due to historically low supply, diesel availability in the eastern U.S. market is currently limited. Drivers should start to see the effects of these supply issues in the coming days. Not weeks, not months, but days. They expect the below states to be impacted the most. Doesn't mean that these will be the only ones impacted, just the most. And so if you live in one of these states, take notice. Georgia, North and South Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, New York, and New Jersey seeming to be affected the most by this, but I'm seeing reports all the way on the West Coast in California of this happening also. I've got a video clip here of the CEO of Pilot J Trucking, which is Pilot J Fleet Services, or whatever they call themselves. They're the alternative to Love's. They're the big competitor to Love's. You've all probably been to a Pilot or Flying J truck stop or convenience store. They account for about 20% of the market for diesel fuel and about 30% of the market for diesel exhaust fluid, the CEO says. But listen to what he says in the video. This is at a hearing, and he is saying that they have been notified by the Union Pacific Railway, which is, I guess, who they contract with to deliver their fuel, that they're getting cut off. They're getting cut off by numbers of up to 50% in fuel. Listen to this.
We currently account for approximately 20% of the country's highway, or as we call it, over-the-road diesel supply, 20%. As well as 30% of the diesel exhaust fluid supply, also known as DEF. Similar to my colleagues here, Pilot is facing a threat of severe reduction in rail service allocations. For Pilot, the service reduction allocations are being imposed by the Union Pacific Railroad. On April 13th, we were informed by the Union Pacific that we were required to reduce shipments by 26%. In subsequent conversations, we were asked to reduce them even further by 50% or face embargoes.
So taking what this guy says at face value, he is being told, his company has been told by the train industry that they're shutting down their deliveries by a significant amount, up to 50%. I mean, that would certainly put the country in a real tough bind if 50% of the diesel fuel just went away. This makes me think, and there's no evidence that's connected to this, but a few months back I did a video or two on the rail industry and how there has been rumors and there has been indication that from way high up all the way to the White House, that there have been directives to the train industry, the rail industry, to cause problems, to slow down, to not distribute things as easily as possible. In fact, I believe it was the health ranger that originally reported that, and I remember just days after he reported that, sure enough, in the news, that some of the things that he had reported was being talked about. So it's very possible that this is some of the effects of this. This is happening everywhere. I want to show you this one video clip here of a guy. He says he's in Orange County. I'm assuming California by the looks of the scenery around him. But he goes to a gas station and there is no fuel here, no diesel. Here, watch this.
Pulled into my favorite 7-Eleven to get diesel for my truck here. And this little note. Sorry for the inconvenience. I'm out of diesel. I've been going here every day for the last 3 years. I went in and asked, what the hell's going on? They said, Dad, we didn't get our delivery. I said, what, no truck drivers? I said, oh, no, they got plenty of truck drivers. The refinery didn't have the product to sell. I'm in the middle of Orange County in civilization, and we can't get diesel. Literally, they're out of diesel because the refinery didn't have anything to sell them. What is going on? Yeah, something's happening.
I also have another one here, and I don't know where this is from, but this is a guy at a truck stop. I believe it was at a Love's, but it could be a Pilot truck stop. But anyways, he's saying that all the pumps are shut down. This is a trucker, and he says the pumps are shut down, that there's no fuel. And here's this one.
First that other Flying J was out of fuel, and now this Love's is. They got every bay blocked off. They ain't got nothing for anybody. 3/4 of the parking lot is empty. Starting to think there might be something to this. Hopefully I can find some fuel somewhere. We can keep trucking.
And then I have a third video, but I'm not going to let the audio play on it because the guy uses a lot of explicitive language. But as this video plays, basically, he is stuck on the side of the road in his semi with no fuel. And the two truck stops, a Pilot and a Love's on either side of him, are both out of fuel. There's no diesel. There are truck drivers, he says, parked in the parking lot. They're full. They're on the side of the highway, and no one can get fuel. He said later on he was able to talk to a farmer that sold him some red diesel, which is the off-road diesel. You're not allowed legally to run it in these trucks, but he said he put it in there enough to get him down the road to where he could find some fuel. And he said at the end of the video that just about every place he's gone to, they're either out or there's limited supply of diesel fuel and diesel exhaust fluid. This is serious, folks. I think this may be more serious than anything that we are facing right now that's going to affect us in the immediate. There's been so much distraction from the, Johnny Depp to the LGBTQ alphabet gang celebration this month, and all the other stuff that's going on, that so many people are just not aware that this is happening. This seems to be happening. I mean, it seems to be very serious. And if in fact that there are truck stops out there and filling stations that are completely out or running out, or that they're rationing or limiting the supply of diesel to customers, this is only going to make things worse. I mean, this whole supply chain, inflation, shortages, everything is going to get significantly worse when we really start running out of a lot of fuel, when trucks aren't able to move, when supplies and food and goods and all the things that need to be moved around aren't able to, when farmers aren't able to run their equipment, when all the other various industries that use diesel aren't able to function, at least function normally, because there's a lack of it or there's just none altogether. I have a feeling that could be very well bring this country to its knees in a lot of ways. It may not be the thing that will bring about the total collapse, but I assure you, not just high diesel prices, but major shortages in diesel and diesel exhaust fluid, it's going to be devastating. It is devastating, and we're already seeing the effects of it. So folks, this is a serious one. This is one you need to be aware of. If you use diesel, on your own, I would suggest stocking up if you're able to. Diesel lasts a little bit longer. There are ways to make it last a year or two. You know, I've heard people that's used 3-year-old diesel and it's been fine. It really all depends on how it's stored. But folks, this is a major issue. I mean, even if you don't use diesel fuel, you should still be stocking up on other things, because everything that you use, everything that you eat, got to you at some point in some way on a vehicle that uses diesel. And a diesel supply shortage, a diesel exhaust fluid shortage, and then just the ridiculous high diesel prices, it's going to have some major rippling effects. Even if it's only in one part of the country, it's going to affect the whole country, folks. You can't shut down trucking in one segment, one part, you know, in several states in this country, and not think that it's not going to affect the rest of the country. It will. So continue to get your houses in order, prepare mentally, physically, and spiritually, because it's just about every day now, it looks like, that something major is happening, and another larger and larger chunk is collapsing off of that dam. Folks, get ready. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.